all alright. Had no need to fight tonight.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Legends Never Die podcast. This is your host, Hunter Frugier, alongside co-host Frank. Today we have in special guest, a close friend, 22-year-old entrepreneur, one of the top real estate agents in Southwest Louisiana with over $88 million in sales. He has over $1 million in personal real estate investment property. We're sitting right now at his beautiful home right here near Lake Charles Country Club at a round table. And parked outside in the garage is the new body-style Porsche Panamera and the fully loaded GMC Denali. He also has an awesome wake boat that we go out and enjoy the wakes and do all kinds of water sports activities all the time. And last but not least, he recently met President Donald Trump. I present to you guys my good friend, Wallace Myers. What's up, brother?
What's up, Hunter? How are you, man?
Good, man. It's a good day to be alive. People always ask me that. They say, how are you today? And I say, better than ever. That's always a good response.
Yeah, and I think I just said that because I didn't quite know what to say. But honestly, Hunter's talking me up really good. I'm in debt up to my eyeballs, and we'll talk a lot more about that.
Debt or leverage? Come on now.
Yeah, it might be leverage.
It might be debt in the case of the fancy things, but leverage in the case of the properties and stuff.
Absolutely.
If you could offset it, then you're A-okay. And you, my friend, can definitely offset it.
Right. If you got enough real estate, fund your personal life, you can get anything you want.
So give them a little plug. You're the owner and CEO of the Wallace Myers Group.
Yeah, I am the CEO of the Wallace Myers Group. We're brokered out of Keller Williams Realty, also an investor in that market center. My team is very focused on leverage and everyone doing their strengths, which is what I've started since the beginning. And built a foundation, built a model that is not popular throughout the country. That's definitely something that the country is going to. Just kind of had a jump start on it. And we are taking that and really focusing on our database, the people that we know, the people that have continued to refer to us, our friends, our family, and providing absolute excellent customer service. That's my biggest thing.
And I've always been pleased as a investor from your services. That's a fact. You've always been beyond all your meetings that you have, all your events. I've been very satisfied. I've met good connections there, whether it was investors, lenders, all of that. So you put on a good show all the time.
And I'll kind of go off of that. It's not me that did excellent service. It's the people that work for my team, my teammates, the people that are on my team that create that. Because I understood from the beginning, I started this when I was 18 years old, that I cannot do what I want to do without the right people there. If I did, I'd be over-promising and under-delivering. And that is not how you get repeat clients.
Yep. You could walk as one, but as a group, you run. You excel.
Absolutely.
And that's a fact. And you had mentioned Keller Williams. Correct me if I'm wrong. They're the number one realtor brokerage in the entire United States?
Entire world.
So what sets you apart from your average agent who works under the company? You decided to set out and start your own group, your own team.
Right. So often people ask me why I do not start my own brokerage. Why did I stay with Keller Williams? I just recently became an investor with Keller Williams because Keller Williams offers a lot of opportunities to their agents. And that was an opportunity I did not see coming, and I'm very grateful for. Regardless of that opportunity, I was still planning to be with Keller Williams. And I'm not here to promote Keller Williams. It already sounds like I'm just talking about it. The thing about it is I knew nothing about it when I started. I'm so thankful I did. Gary Keller actually wrote the book on the real estate team. He's the one who set the standards. He set the models for the real estate team. I tweaked it to work for me. Yet without that, I'd probably still be showing houses, would not be in the amount of sales that I am, and making much less money. And on top of that, what it is, it's not like I work for Keller Williams. I'm a 1099. I work for my LLC. I work for the Wallace Myers Group. I allow Keller Williams Realty to contract me out, and with that contract that I allow them to contract me out, I pay them a minimal amount, very small amount, and I'm able to use the technology. Keller Williams spends over $1 billion on technology right now, and I'm able to use that technology and provide it to my team and my clients and further better the experience of real estate.
And I've looked into some of your systems, and you've told me quite a bit about a few things that you do, and I really think it's very beneficial that you have stuck with them instead of starting your own thing. some of the technology. You've showed me some of the spreadsheets you use, some of y'all's lead generation. It's some very high quality stuff. So I could see how they invest a lot there.
Absolutely, absolutely. One of the biggest things for that is so many people, even part of our brokerage, do not utilize that. And there's a lot of things that I did not do right. Don't get me wrong, but the few things that I did do right were things that brought me to this place. It's what brought business. It's what brought profit. A lot of times you'll notice in real estate agents, there's a lot of starving real estate agents out there. And there's some that are very successful. But the ones that you know, the successful ones, that's just a few. There's over 650 real estate agents in Southwest Louisiana. I'm very fortunate, thank you to the community, that I'm ranked number 2. I'm not here to brag about that. I'm just here to contest that it's because of the work you do, and I'm 22 years old and I've done that. And it's not
you've
just...
only been investing for 4 years. We're not going to say any names, but the number 1 agent, I would love to see how long he or she, we're both familiar with who it is, has been in the business. I guarantee it's a lot more than 4 years.
I mean, it has, and I very much respect that person, and we run a separate type of business. That person I look up to in certain ways as far as they are able to handle much more than I can. They know much more of what's going on around them than I even do. Honestly, I don't know how that person does it.
And it may be their familiarity with the area. I'm not sure that he or she, I'll leave it at that, how long they have lived in this area. But I know you're local, but you've only lived in Lake Charles for 4 years now.
No, I'm not talking about familiarity with the area. What I'm talking about is just there's so much that goes on, and the fact that that person can retain that much information is amazing. I chose to have a life. I chose freedom. And from the get-go, my entire plan was to set up standard systems in place where I could have people come under me, because there's a profit amount that I want to make, and there's money that I need to live on, and there's money that I need to do the things I want to do. And after that, if I can't have freedom, there's nothing. I can make all the money in the world. You could offer me a job that pays me $5 million a year, and more than likely I would not take it, because if I wouldn't have freedom, I wouldn't be able to have a life. And that is the single most important thing to me whenever I'm looking at a career.
You would rank freedom and your time over money.
Absolutely, because freedom allows you to spend time with those or to do those things that are important to you. So if family's important to you, if your kids, your wife, whatever it might be, if that's important to you, you can solve that through freedom. And to get freedom, you have to have money, unfortunately. I'm sorry, that's how it works. Money's not bad. A lot of times the world teaches you money's bad. And money can be bad if the person uses it the wrong way.
It's the person, not the money that's
correct.
Bad. Yes.
Correct. And money, I have, and look, before I get onto that, there's a lot of things that it looks better than it is. Don't get me wrong. Yet we have been able to help more people than I can imagine by having this business, and this business providing the life that I have. It's been able to help provide a life for other people, honestly. And that is something that it's money's not a bad thing when it's that case. When you're not greedy, it definitely reshapes your thought on what money is.
And I can agree with that. That's like me as a contractor and real estate investor myself. I like to tell people a lot of times, and you're one of the same, you pass by a house and you could tell someone it's something that's forever in our line of business. Like I pass by and I say, hey, I built that house, or I did work on that house. You say I sold that house to a family, and that's something that'll last forever. So you get a good feel off of that, I'd imagine.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, most of the time a house, because not everyone invests, not everyone wants to invest. They want to have a family in their house, and they want to work the job they have, and they love what they do, and that is perfectly okay. So their biggest investment is their home. And for us to be able to make sure that they're in something that they love and something that's going to retain its value is so great. It's so sad for me to see. A lot of times we come into situations where someone calls us to help them sell their property. Well, we weren't there whenever they bought their property. They didn't go through us. They may have not even known us. So we have to work through the mistakes that the other agent made. They bought something that wasn't able to hold value. And so we have to tell them that they're taking a $50,000 loss on this house. We'll still get you the most money out of anyone around, yet you bought it for too much, and I'm sorry about that. And that is sad because if you don't have the right person by your side, they're just going to let you do whatever you want to do.
Or take advantage of you.
Correct. And it's because that they are, honestly, this is the truth. It's because most agents are very desperate for money. They're broke. And so they can have the biggest heart they can. They really need the check. They have a family to support. So they're just going to let you do what you want to do, not help guide you, not help you with your expertise, not provide a market analysis for you, and just let you overpay for something.
They're more based off of a sales pitch, a salesman mentality than a forever friend. Your group.
Well, we want to build off a lasting relationship.
Yeah,
so whenever we sell you a house or an investment property or whatever that might be, we plan to list that house. I mean, we know that most people don't stay in a house more than 5 to 10 years. They're selling. So when we go to sell your house, the last thing we want is for you to have overpaid for it, because how are we going to sell it for you? And so that's something that we have to deal with. We have to fix the mistakes that your agent made whenever you purchase something, and unfortunately tell you that it's not worth what you even need to pay off your mortgage.
I agree. So we'll jump into something else before we get deep into the real estate. What do you enjoy most in life aside from real estate? I know you talked about family, friends. I know you travel a lot. So what's something you really enjoy aside from the real estate, or something that the real estate allows you to do?
I know this is a very generic answer because I've already kind of said that, but freedom, complete freedom. I don't know if there's really one certain thing that I enjoy to do. I like to do a lot of things. As you said, I absolutely love to travel. But everything I do revolves around freedom that I enjoy.
Not having to punch a clock 9 to 5, not having to report. No. I know you and your team do weekly meetings, morningly meetings, and you're accountable to be there. But you could show up when you want, when you need to. You could do things outside of that schedule. You make your own schedule.
Right. And one thing I want to touch on briefly is I've been doing this for a while now. And it wasn't always like this. I mean, I worked to get where I am. I put in the hours. Main thing is everyone wants to talk about how hard of a worker someone is. And that's great. You want a hard worker. And you want to be a hard worker. But more than that, you have to be a smart worker. Especially whenever you're the CEO of the company and running your own business, you have to work smart.
You have to put people in the right position.
You don't have to work a whole lot of hours even, but the hours that you do work, you have to make them very intentional. And you have to be able to use those hours for what makes sense for the rest of the company and make them for the most and to bring in the most profit for the company.
So efficiency over effort.
Right. And when I say profit, I don't want you to think of a corporate standpoint, because a lot of times companies think here and now profit. You got to not only think about profits, you got to think about 5 years later profit.
In the lasting relationship, you want to not only sell someone's home for them, but you also want to put them in a new home. Or you want to sell them the home, and then when they want to sell the home again in 10 years,
well, that's what, not to interrupt you. Yeah, not to interrupt you, but that's what I meant by 5-year profit is I'm not talking about profit here and now, because we plan to be around here for a long time. So we do have to profit. Yet if we have to take, I don't want to say a loss, but we have to not profit as much to make sure somebody's getting the right situation. We respect that, we honor that, and we want to do that because we understand that if we treat people right now, 5 years later we'll also be treated. We could profit more than we probably do over the next 3 years, but what's going to happen to our business 5 to 10 years from now if we're just taking money, not representing people to the full capacity and letting them be underrepresented and not providing them full value? We won't have business from 5 to 10 years.
So this freedom has allowed you to do many things, traveling, which you said. I know you just got back from an 11-day trip to Austin. You went to a conference over there. How many of these conferences do you attend a year, and how beneficial do you think that is? I know you're big on coaching, and we'll step into that after, and mentoring, but the conferences alone, what do they provide?
So what I always say is that you're especially me personally, it's almost like I'm a rubber band. I go to these conferences and I get so stretched out and I get so excited and I'll learn these things. And you might know that if you've been to any motivational speaker, and this is far from a motivational speaker, it's very much intentional. But you get so stretched out and then you come back home and you get involved with your friends that may not have the same goals as you do. And there's nothing wrong with that, but you slowly start to go back into a complacent state. Mm-hmm. And you cannot do that whenever you have other people relying on you to pay the bills for their family and their kids. You have to always be stretched out. So I try to continue with as much coaching and conference as I can, so I stay stretched out.
You stay in that stretched
mindset. Right,
mindset.
I stay in that mindset where we need more.
So back to the topic of freedom. I know you said you travel a lot, and since me and you have been friends over a year now, I've seen you go to some destinations that I would like to go to myself, and I'm pretty upset you didn't invite me to Las Vegas last month, or not even last month, a couple weeks ago. But I know we'll go again. And I know a lot of times when you are traveling, it is for these conferences, but you also extend your stays, and you get a lot of pleasure out of it, I'd imagine, due to the flexibility in your schedule and freedom.
Absolutely. I believe that I was in Austin for 11 days and have such a good team and a good staff that I talked to one client for, I think, about 2 or 3 minutes the entire time I was in Austin.
And that's the key in having things automated. In my business, I want to get it more like that, where I'm not as hands-on in the construction and development of projects, and that I could have a general contractor and managers, property managers and stuff do stuff for me. I'm not necessarily at that point. And for some reason, my mind, I got to let it go, that last little bit of me wanting to do everything myself. How did you get over that?
Well, I'm definitely well over that at this point.
Yeah.
I've
I
learned.
could tell.
Well, here's the deal. When you hire your first good staff, you will quickly realize you are not the best at everything. That's the first part.
So first step, realizing you are not the best.
Oh, for sure.
And that's how you have to grow and expand. You have to realize that there is someone better at that, accept that fact, find that person, and hire them.
Right,
and
you don't just hire. One of my first hires, I mean, yeah, I did have a couple hires before that. My main first hire that I hired was someone who really could just take over the position. They were able to really come in, control it, deal with everything, put out the fires, and make people feel very comfortable, and they were able to give a great client experience.
And when you find someone like that, how satisfied do you want to keep to retain them? You want to keep them so satisfied, so incentivized, that there's just no way they'd ever want to leave you, basically, right?
Well, absolutely, and you have a big picture. They should know where the team is going to go, where your business is going to go, and if you can't provide a value to someone, if someone comes to me and I can't think big enough for them to be able to do whatever they want inside my business, then I'm not the right person for them. But typically, whenever someone that's at a level that can go to just about any business they want, they come to me for a job, the difference between me and them is that this other individual that they thought about working for just wanted to be the biggest in Lake Charles, or just had a mindset of if I could reach this amount. My mindset is so big that if I can't create that for you, we would be shocked. And you tell me what you want to do. If it's something I hadn't thought about, we're going to figure out a way. And so going back to the Incentivize, I always ask myself whenever I'm hiring someone, well, you definitely have to keep it down and make sure your profit's okay, because you got to profit. Yet, if it's a good enough person and you know that's going to take your business to the absolute next level, what can I afford not to hire that individual? Can I afford not to hire that individual? If they're going to bring it back, if they're going to bring the money back in, if they're going to allow me the freedom to go get more business. So that is definitely something I've overcame. I did have a problem with paying people too much. Not necessarily that individual, just I had a problem with paying the wrong people too much money, because I was just desperate to not have to deal with it because we were so busy.
And that's just trial and error there.
Absolutely.
You've learned
a lot of things I did wrong. So if you want to know what not to do, I am the person to ask, I promise you.
And that's why I enjoy doing stuff like this. I pick people from different industries and all that I'm going to delve into. And I like to see what they did wrong, because it'll help me avoid the mistakes, and it'll jumpstart you. And I feel like that's important in any business. You bug me about getting my realtor's license, so when I do go to get it, because I'm already buying, selling, and flipping houses, all that. So now if I do get my license, I could be on your team, not necessarily your team, but on your side of things, and you could help me pass these difficulties and show me the right path, avoid wasting time and money. So it's always an important thing.
Yeah, definitely. Don't ask me how to dot the I and cross the T. I might be able to do it, but I will be bored in 2 seconds. Yet if you want to know how to grow your business, I'm the person for you.
Damn, I really like what you're saying there, and I'm taking a lot from this, because I need to take this into my own realm of things and your aspect of this, your knowledge, and use it in my own businesses, and realize that I can't do it all myself. I could, but it won't flow as well. I need to realize that there are better carpenters than me. There are better property managers, all that, and kind of push away, let things flow instead of trying to do it all myself. So I really am getting a lot out of this, but we'll transition real quick.
Well, Hunter, real quick, this goes for any business. People use you for your level of service. They don't necessarily just use you because you're the person who can cut the window out. And that's what people need to understand in their business. People use them for their level of service, not just for who they are. It's narcissistic to think that it's just because of you. It's because of your level of service. So if you find the right people that provide your same level of quality and your same level of quickness and your same level of service, you will continue to get used. Your business will continue to grow, and you'll be able to go out there and get more business. And you will be so happy that you did that, because it's nothing more happier than seeing people be able to provide for their children and make more money than they ever thought they could, and go around the world to places they never thought they'd be able to travel to. So seriously, you need to make sure you make that jump.
I'm gonna make that jump. Hire out more things. Quit doing as much myself. I'm gonna definitely make that jump. That'll be the big first point that I take out of this. And before we get deep into some of the real estate investing and how you work your team, how you use leverage, and all that, let's get a quick, brief background on where you're from, life growing up, some of your family's morals, values, stuff like that. Some of the principles you learned at a young age, things like that.
Wonderful. I love it. So I grew up in a parish, if you're not from Louisiana, a county of around 2,000 some odd people, Cameron Parish.
Isn't that strange that Louisiana is the only state that has parishes versus counties?
Yeah, it's definitely strange.
I did not know that until I started traveling, which was...
Wow, you're very sheltered.
It's been a while. 2012. So
they didn't teach you that in DeRidder, did they?
Nope, they didn't teach us that, man. They didn't teach us nothing. That's how the whole education system goes. We'll get to that in a minute, but they don't teach you what you need to know. That's all you need to know. For all our viewers that are still in high school, I'm not telling you to up and quit high school, but
definitely don't do that.
Definitely listen to some more podcasts, get more information other than those science books. Those are only going to take you so far, and they're not going to take you in the right direction. That's for damn sure. But more back to your story. Cameron Parish.
Cameron Parish, it's called Laurie. It's really Lake Arthur, which Lake Arthur is actually Jeff Davis Parish, but we're on that edge of it where it's Cameron Parish. My parents own a campground, RV park, a marina, has a gas station on the water.
And that's Myers Landing.
Myers
correct?
Landing,
Yep.
Lake Arthur, Louisiana, cabins. So, yeah, I worked my ass off for them from when I was as far back as I can remember. And one thing, the biggest thing I took away from them is that they did not know how to do leverage. My mother, she is the hardest worker I know. Super sweet. Everyone goes there. It is a beautiful area. They go there for that too. They love her to death.
It is. I enjoy
But
the area.
she has no life because she does not use leverage, and she didn't implement leverage into her business when she should have. And now it would be really hard to, because it's not as popular of a business as it once was. And she never used that leverage. She never hired people better than her to do bookkeeping, marketing, growing the business, making sure that she didn't get screwed over whenever people didn't want to pay their bills.
And you believe that you have to use leverage to reach your full potential, correct?
Absolutely. I mean, maybe your goal's not freedom. Maybe your goal is to work 90 hours a week and that's all your life is. But I grew up, I was very fortunate because I was able to go to work with my mother because she owned her own business. I did spend a lot of time there, and that's probably where I got a lot of my values. Yet at the same time, she was always working. I mean, if I had something, she might have been able to go because she owned her own business, but there was a lot of times where she wasn't there for certain things. And I almost hate to say that, so I hope she doesn't listen because she'd be very sad to know that. But like, at the end of the day, I'm very happy for how I grew up. I couldn't ask for better parents. And actually, I couldn't ask for better parents because of what they taught me. They taught me of leverage. I didn't want to be like that. I didn't want to not have a life. I didn't want to not experience the world. So they taught me that, you know, they had their own business. They believed they had to do everything themselves. And they really, really worked very, very hard, but they didn't necessarily work smart.
Yep. And one thing your parents always teach you that's one of the greatest factors that will benefit you in your business life is that they teach you, and it's not to be rude, but it's oftentimes true, they teach you what not to do.
Correct.
Which is more important than what to do a lot of times. They show you the life that it's a good life, but they show you something beyond that there's more to it than what they're doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So back to where I grew up. So campground, cabins, fuel dock, worked all week long cutting a ton of grass, weed eating, never getting on a lawnmower again. I can promise you that. Or unless it's to do like a video I did the other day, the background of my life where I got on it to show
Yeah, I saw
what
that. I like that.
what I did for so many years.
On the tractor.
I cut more grass than most people would in their entire lifetime. I promise that. Bush hog, everything you can imagine, fixing water lines, electricity. My main job that I absolutely hated that I now think is funny and I don't care is I guess I was at that high school moment where I wanted to try to be cool or not or care what people think. I pretended like I didn't care, but I would drive this tractor in front of, there'd be 1,000 people on this campground on a weekend, and there'd be parties going on. I drove this tractor with these 2 homemade trailers full of trash. Everybody like, oh, you're the trash boy. They thought it was funny, and I dumped all this trash. And now I think it's hilarious, but back then it was not.
Beginnings.
Yeah, not back then. That was not super cool to me. So I don't do that anymore.
And that's something it taught you. That was a principle, a lesson that it taught you. This is not what I want to do forever. I need to step outside of this box.
They definitely made me get to the bottom of the barrel. Very good parents. They provide a good life for me. They let me do they really let me do basically whatever I wanted. I will say that. They were 0% control. I had to work, but after work, I could do whatever I wanted. And that is one thing I do have to appreciate the hell out of them for, is because I know so many parents that are controlling on their children.
And that never ends well.
No, all they do is
Especially in a
rebel. My
society
parents
like
and I
today.
have always had a great relationship because they let me do what I wanted. Why would we not? And they trusted me is what it gets to at the end of the day. And I had to work hard, and then after work you can do what you want to do. And I was able to meet a lot of connections through that. I have a family that my mother is respected as far as because she's such a good genuine
person.
I'm so glad you just said that. I mean, that's exactly what it is. She's so genuine. She's so nice, but she is definitely like, she should hire someone to run her entire business and literally just be the marketing person for it. Just be nice to people, and she would get so much more business. So she would call the people that have been, I think they started in 1982 or 83. If she would start calling the people that have been going to her business since then, she would have more business. I tell her that to this day. She'd start calling all those people that have been in her business since then and giving them some type of discount to come back to her business, and just let someone else run all those other things. She'd probably start profiting more money, but she can't see that.
So how do you feel on growth versus building a relationship? Or do you think it should go hand in hand? As you're building a relationship, you should also focus on growing the company.
I definitely think it's both. You cannot lose your relationship. Now look.
But you don't want to be stuck in a relationship forever that does not matter, that's not going to help you grow.
Most people want your level of service. So if you hire the right people, and you hire people to help maintain those relationships and build more relationships, you're able to keep. I mean, here's the deal. If they relied on me to build those relationships, I'd have like 10 friends and that's it, because I'm so busy. I couldn't even get to the other friends that I have and the people that helped me get where I am. I couldn't even call to, I mean, I literally have to leverage people to call and say thank you, because how do you have time to do that? You just hire someone really good, someone really genuine, someone that can also help build a relationship with those people and allow them to kind of take that part. It's not that I don't feel that way that they're telling. They're calling them because I care, and I set that up in that situation. And I try to do client events as much as I can. I spend a lot of money on those things. And the real reason I do it is because I do care, and I want to see all these people. I want to see them 4 times a year or 5 times a year or more.
I really enjoyed your last event.
Yeah, I just can't call you every month just to chat as much as I want to, because I've got people to provide for. I've got people that have families, and if I call everyone that I know every single month and visit with them, how am I going to be able to grow this business and provide for the people that have to provide for their children and their life? It wouldn't happen. So I'm looking out for people's best interests. And you know what? No one cares. The biggest fault most people think is that they're going to lose that relationship and not be able to continue on their growth. And that is absolutely not true, because people respect that. They see you're growing, and they definitely want to continue to work with successful people.
So you learned a lot of the fundamental principles while working for your family business: hard work, a good work ethic, using the ability of resources to leverage yourself. But what'd you do after that? Did you go to college? Did you jump right into real estate? What was your next move after high school, I guess you would say?
Man, I do know the answer, but I don't know how I got there. I started taking real estate classes back in, I think, around February, March of my senior year of high school. So I did jump into real estate.
And what triggered that initially?
That's the part I don't know. I have no idea or recollection. And I remember because people ask me all the time, why did you get into real estate? I know it had to do with freedom, but how at such a young age I knew that would provide me freedom.
It wasn't a book. It wasn't a conversation you have, or you
It
just
definitely
don't
wasn't
remember?
a book because I'm not someone who reads a lot as much as I would like to say I do because I get bored as hell, very ADD. But it definitely was something that struck me as a business opportunity and a way to have freedom. Don't know what triggered that. So, and I remember wanting to do that since my junior year. Well, I graduated from high school. I actually was salutatorian in my class, had a lot of opportunities. Decided I got my license, my real estate license in July of 2015, and started real estate.
So you graduated in 2015.
Graduated in May of 2015.
So
got
2
my
months
real
later,
es-
you had your license.
Yes, because you couldn't get your. I took my classes months before I graduated. Yeah, you could not take the test and get your license until you were 18.
Without the diploma.
So
Or
by
18?
July 21st of 2015 is the day that I officially got my license. And I started doing real estate, calling everyone I knew, told them I was in the business. Had no fear. I just sent out my graduation invitation, so I think I just called everyone and just was telling them what I was doing. And that following August or September, I started school at McNeese. And I believe, and I was there for a semester and a half. I did go to school for a semester and a half. Have no degree from it. I think school is good for connections, or if you have a field that's definitely going to be there. But if you're going in business, I hate to say that you can't learn. Like, before I go into any further, never stop learning. I learn every single day. I travel the world going to conferences so I can learn more.
And what you said about fear, you had no fear. I feel like fear is an illusion. Do you feel that way? That fear is just something we put in our heads, and it's just non-existent. Everything good happens outside of your comfort zone. Did you ever feel yourself stepping outside of your comfort zone whenever you were talking to these clients, or were you always an introvert or extrovert? Extrovert, I'd say. Or what were you exactly?
I feel like I'm more an introvert. I honestly think I'm more introvert now.
So did you feel like you were stepping out of your comfort zone when you were getting into reaching these contacts and all that?
Honestly,
or did you feel like you were at that point in your life where you just quit caring, basically?
Look, it's always uncomfortable. Yet at the same time, I think I just didn't think. I just knew what I had to do. And so I really didn't want to be in school. I was going to get a degree because I had a full ride. So I started school. Up until that point of my life, I had did things, by far was not perfect. I did everything a normal high schooler does. It was things that people of, guess, the society or whatever you want to call it approved of.
Yep.
Well, I went for a semester and a half of school and I dropped out. So
you don't agree that you have to go to college to be successul?
Absolutely not.
I can't believe this.
I believe that it's about learning, self-development. It's not necessarily about getting a degree. I love college and high school for the connections. Or if you're going to be a doctor, I would very much be happy if you went to school for that. Yet if you're
an engineer.
I mean, I guess if you absolutely don't know what you're doing, just go ahead and go. Maybe you'll make some connections, do some business later. Or you're doing some degree that requires a field attorney, doctor. But if you're going for something like, if you plan to be an entrepreneur later, there's not a whole lot it's going to offer you besides connections, to be honest with you.
And see, me, I'm a prime example. I went to McNeese, graduated, 4-year degree. I graduated early at 21, started school at 17. Yeah, I'm smart, whatever. Smart, but whatever.
Much smarter.
If I was really smart, I wouldn't have wasted those 4 years of my life. You know,
you met people.
It wasn't a waste.
You met people you wouldn't have met, and so you can't take back the past. Quit harping on it. But I will tell you this.
But imagine what I could have done in those 18 hours a week, or more than that,
You're
18
right.
hours worth of classes.
I can't take you back for that.
Yeah.
That is very true.
I always think of it. I don't regret it, but I always think of it.
I was so bored in my college classes. Mom, forgive me. I was playing The Sims because I had nothing else to do, and like texting everyone I knew, asking if they knew real estate. And look, all I did was build houses on there. Now I don't even want to watch HGTV. I don't even know why.
All you did was sit on Zillow during class.
Actually, I hate Zillow. Do not bring that word up again. But that's a whole
love
different topic.
Zillow. We'll get
Anyway,
into that
back
topic.
to the
Go ahead.
story. I was in school. I dropped out after a semester half, as I said 5 times. They don't let me finish what I'm saying.
Go ahead.
What I'm getting to is that when I wanted to drop out. That was the first time in my first time in my life that I was disappointing people. And it was a very hard feeling to feel, to make so many people tell you that you were doing something wrong.
And was that because you knew you weren't disappointing them inside, that you had a bigger picture lined up?
Yes, and it was very hard. And what I'm getting at is you might get frustrated when people tell you shouldn't do something or you shouldn't take this chance. But what you got to realize is you can't get mad at those people. You don't have to listen to what they say, yet you cannot get mad at those people, because what that's telling you is that they really love you and care about you. If they didn't love you or care about you, they wouldn't even give you an opinion at all. So these
Correct.
people, it's just what they know. Don't get offended by it. They were really caring and really wanted what's best for you. And in their mind, what was best for you was college. They might have never went to college. They had failures after college. So they thought that college is best for you. My parents included. They really wanted me to, quote unquote, at least get a degree. How many times have you heard that?
Yeah.
Lots of times. So what I did to get my parents off my back, because they were like, they didn't pay all my bills, but they did pay the place I lived in, which was only while I was in school. So they were like, okay, well, as soon as you leave, you're going to have to pay all your bills and on and all these threats. And so what I did was I was like, Mother, I'm so busy. I paid for her to go to real estate class. 2 weeks into real estate class, she's like, all right, bro, you can drop out. Yeah, she saw that it was not a job. She's like, everyone works a job while they're in college. Everyone does everything while they're your cousin works 2 jobs while she's in college. You can do real estate in college. I was like, Mother, but every time it's not a job, it's a business. It's a career. Yeah. It's something that's going to grow. So every time that I'm spending in school means that I am not talking to people and connecting with people and building a business. And so because of that, I cannot be where I want to be. I'm dropping out. Regardless if I have to sleep on my friend's couch or in my car, I don't care. At this point, I am dropping out. And I brought her to that real estate school. She understood after that. And best $700 investment of my life was paying for her to go through school, because I really didn't want them to completely just like disown me or some shit, you know. But so yeah, my point is that school is not everything. It is great for some people, yet learning is very important. Absolutely. But it doesn't have to be through a, quote, a university or whatever that might be. It's about growing yourself and being who you want to be, and building the career you want to be, you want to achieve, and not letting someone control your destiny. I mean, don't let people control your life. I mean, unless you're like really not able to do something and someone has to tell you what to do, then I'm sure that's fine. But I mean, if you've got the right plan, you've got the right thing in place, you need to just do it.
And I could definitely agree with everything you said there, and I wish that I would have taken all of that into account in my own life. I went to school for the 4 years there, and a lot of that time could have been wasted. At least 2 years I could have better focused myself on stuff that I'm doing now, building my brand, building my business. But what was your next step after college? How did you build your team, get with Keller Williams, and start implementing that leverage?
So how did I build leverage? So it started out making a lot of mistakes. I hired people that were very good and loyal people, and I might still have some of them on my team, yet I didn't put them in the right positions. I now realize there are 2 different types of people, and that's absolutely great. You've got your people that are good at client experience. They're your more patient people. They're your people that are able to provide the absolute best experience for you. The people that really, really care about every detail and want to make it the best for you. And then you've also got your people that are able to set an appointment whenever someone's hesitant. They're able to get that appointment and let that person know that we are the best for the job. Our numbers prove it. Not everyone can do that. Not everyone can get in there and really show that.
The numbers definitely do prove it. $88 million over your 4 years for you and your team in sales. 2018 so far, you've done 175 plus transactions.
So 2018 was last year. We did 176. This year we're at what I don't even know.
I believe you're at 35 million plus.
We did 37 or 38 million last year. This year we're at 35. So I'm guessing
You're
we're
going
hitting
to exceed
50 or 60. I mean, I know
and
my numbers.
How much do you have right now in active listings? I'd imagine that's a whole nother
It's quite a lot, because what I do is the way I keep my team is we have our new construction. and absolutely love our new construction, but that is something that we've already committed to. So I do not let my team count new construction in any of their numbers.
Because that's a guaranteed.
I mean, we have that already.
And who
that
are
would
you
be
doing the
unfair.
new construction with? That's D.R. Horton.
D.R.
correct
Horton's
me?
one of the companies we do business with.
I remember when I first met you, I'd made a joke as a contractor, builder, and all that myself. I told you, I was like, man, D.R. Horton Construction is screwing me on these flips because they're able to provide such great homes at such a low price. And you're like, well, you know what, my man? I just met you, but I'll tell you something. I list all of D.R. Horton's projects, and we just busted out laughing. It was a good topic
and D.R. Horton has
starter.
provided a very good life for me, and they have been able to provide a very good product for the amounts you have to pay.
They really are. They are, as their quote says, or their slogan, America's builder.
You're right. D.R. Horton, you better be listening to this because we have just shouted you out like no one else.
Yeah, we're going to need a sponsorship
So anyway,
for this.
back to that. We don't count any of our new construction. We do have a lot of active listings. I don't let my team count the new construction. And we don't really hit our goals off of new construction. I make them count on resales and finding new clients and new business, or going back to old business and creating new business out of it, whatever that might be. But that's like you said, that's basically guaranteed. So and that's about me keeping that guaranteed, not them. And I'm getting off track now. But yeah, last year we sold 176 properties. In 2018 we did at 38 million. This year we're at about 35 over 35.
You're at 34,999. I looked at the numbers before we started.
That is as of today.
We'll
By the
round
time
up to
this goes
35.
live, we'll be in like 37. So,
Yeah.
but we're probably looking to hit over 50, which would be great. And that we're actually not reaching our goals, which is really aggravating to me.
But that's something, one thing, I tell people this all the time. Each week on Sunday, I write down my goal sheet. And I hate to say it, but I make the things on my sheet unrealistic. There's no possible way I'm getting everything on this sheet done. But if I kept it realistic, I would complete my goal sheet and I wouldn't be satisfied. So I always set my goals a little higher. I'm very optimistic, but in a sense, I'm unrealistic. I set unrealistic goals because that makes you push past that barrier.
Well, Hunter, let me tell you this. Sometimes you have to go backwards to move forward. And last year, I profited a lot. I did a lot of it with just my staff, not necessarily a lot of sales type people. And that created a good life for me. I profited. But that would never give me complete freedom. So I restructured everything. I developed a new plan. And I understood that this year would probably not be quite as good for me as far as the profit side.
It was going to be the learning curve for your new plan.
We definitely are grossing more, but we're not necessarily profiting more.
But
and
you're
I
building
developed
more
I
relationships.
fired people, I hired new people, I completely restructured everything. And it did take some income out of me, especially at the beginning of the year and the end of last year, that I probably didn't expect to last so long. Yet what I'm seeing now is, and I did question what I was doing. What I'm seeing now, what I'm seeing for the next year is it is supporting what I'm doing. And basically what I'm doing as far as leverage goes, I see there's two type of people. Any other real estate team, or basically I should say this, most real estate teams you will see across the country, they expect their people that are very good at making commitments with people and promising people certain things and under-delivering. I saw that right away. And so what I did is I have two basic types of fields. I got the people that are very good at creating business opportunities and very good at having people use us because of our value, right? But if they were the persons you rely on to provide that value, like most real estate teams do, they have agents that go out and tell them what quote-unquote their value is, yet they also expect that person to provide it. It's not going to happen because there's two types of different people. You got people that can do that, but then they're on to the next thing. They're too busy because that person is so likable that they have too many people to deal with. They could never do it by themselves. I saw that a long time ago, and I was not going to let my name be on something that did not provide perfect customer service. So I took it a step further, and I built a client experience team. And these type of people are more your patient people, more your systematic people. And so every time one of, let's say, or people that create that new opportunity get us a deal, after that deal, the client experience team takes it over. And they're still there if you need something. Don't get me wrong. but you're never really going to need them or need something because the client experience team is so good and so well trained that they're able to handle everything you're wanting. You're going to be, I mean, something that what you would worry about, like you were just saying about you being the best, it takes away your complete objections.
See, I'm not
because
worried
that
about
client
being the best,
well,
exactly.
or that you're
or making sure it's done right.
You're right. So
Yeah.
what the deal is, that client experience team is going to do it better than you can because you're off getting a new deal.
new
You're off.
contract,
You're off
yeah.
building something different. You're off working on something else. That client experience team understands the process. That's why they're hired there. That's their job. And so let the people that are good at going get new experiences and new deals and creating new opportunities for families and helping those families create a better income for themselves through investing or create a better, get more profit out of their house. Let them do what they're good at. They're helping families. They're getting more families to use the right people. Let them do that. Real estate teams out there that are listening, and then have those people that are patient and great at client experience then take over that transaction and provide absolute perfect customer service. Because if they don't, you're gone. And they're never gone because I make sure I hire the right people. Just make sure your client experience team is so good because that is what will get you those repeat referrals, those repeat experiences, and keeping that to the level that you want it to be.
And creating that perfect system.
Right, and I didn't always have that. I confused the two, like every other team does. They let that same person that's able to connect with so many people. They're connecting with so many people, and they're meeting so many people, and so many people want to use them. And they're letting that same person that's able to meet 50 people in a month and create opportunities with them. They're letting that same person then have to handle the situation. Maybe not the paperwork, but they still have to handle making sure those people are updated and those people are having this great experience. How can they do that? Let them do what they're good at. Let them go meet people. Let them go provide the opportunities, because if your team is good enough, you won't feel bad about it. You want them going to do good because we know we are the best in business. Our numbers prove that the average agent in Southwest Louisiana does 96% list to sell value, while we in 2018
Exceed 100%.
we do often, but last year our average was over 99%, while the average 96%. So we're typically getting 4% more. So let me take that in consideration. On a $200,000 house, we're typically getting people $8,000 more for their house. And on top of that, that is a lot of because of our client experience team are able to sit there with them and be patient with them and make sure the deal's not getting done best, not rushing off to something new that they're having to deal with.
And I'll give your team a quick plug. Me as an investor, I have a lot of rental properties and all this, and we do a lot of for sale by owner. So oftentimes I will list my properties on Zillow or whatever the multi-list that I have access to as an investor. And the first team that calls me is the Wallace Myers group every time. Whoever your for sale by agent owner is, whether it's Totsy, who I've met at your group. I love Totsy, man. He is an awesome guy.
McKissick, we love you.
Yeah, you are awesome, dude. And your vlog's awesome. I've been following it. I'd love to have you come step on the team here, join the podcast group and all that. But every time that I list it for sale by owner, the first team that calls me is the Wallace Myers group. I get a lot of calls that want to show the property and all this, bring a buyer to the table. But there's not many times that I get a company or a team group that wants to come in and list the property for me. They always go off of what you just say. They say, you're asking $70,000. We think your property's worth $80,000. Let us list it for you for $80,000. They break down the numbers. They know the area. They know the comps, everything. Your team's on point with that. I got to give it to you. There's been 3 occurrences, 2 recently, where that's happened. And I think it was Totsy before I knew him that did both. Called as soon as we listed for sale by owner that same day. Hey, man, you should let us list your property. And I always tell them, I'm like, if we don't have it listed within 30 days or under contract, we'll do that. And usually we do. It's a hot market, so we'll get it under contract. But I have to give credit to the Wallace Myers group in that aspect for sure. On top of the for sale by owner game.
Very intensive. There's systems that they follow. And a lot of those systems weren't necessarily created by me. They created their own systems. They're very adamant. And we believe in creating opportunity, and we want to be able to represent as much of Southwest Louisiana as we can. And not just that, we'll eventually hopefully grow into other markets. We just want to make sure that everyone's getting the best level of service, because there are so often. We recently listed a house. They were for sale by owner at $130,000. We actually sold it for $145,000. Well, let me rephrase that. We got them an offer for 145. They were listed at 130. Got them an offer for 145. Of course, the appraisal comes back at 139 because those guys are against us. But we still sold it for 9,000 more than they were planning on getting on their own. We would have sold it for 14 or 10,000 more. Let me say that right? 130, 140. 15,000 more than what they would have had for their own. Another experience is, there was someone that we met with. They wanted to list at 65,000. We told them we could get them probably around 90,000. Listed it at 90,000. We told them we could probably get more, and the whole deal is you can never price too low if you market it correctly. Now, if you don't market it correctly, you'll get it low. If you market it correctly, you'll always get more. The worst thing you do is overprice it because then you add days on market. Everyone wants to come for the best value. Think like a buyer.
Do you think you should overprice it or underprice it?
Underprice. That's what I'm giving you this example for. You either price it right or underprice it, because if you underprice it, you'll get multiple offers. It'll always go up. Yep. We listed a house in Sulphur, pretty hot market, 2-bedroom, 1-bath. Listed it for, they wanted only like 65 or 70,000 because they were in a rush because they were buying a new construction home and had to get out of it.
Had to get money for that.
Yeah, and they only want to list it at 65 or 70. I actually told them 90, and I said we still might get more than that. Listed it at 90,000. Sold it within 2 weeks for 116,000 cash. That's over 35%, if I'm doing my math right.
Above asking.
It's definitely over 30. I think it's over 35% above asking price. So that's what happens when you have the right people marketing your properties. And of course, I'm giving a shout out to myself. So yeah, call me. But what I'm getting at is
for sale by owners, call the Wallace Myers group.
That's right,
for sure.
But my point is just if you do the right things and you don't shortcut anything, you can definitely get more money for whatever that might be.
And I've been partnered with this investor that I work with on the rental properties and stuff for a long time. He's been investing over 40 years. He's 76 years old. So he's always got that mentality that I could do it by myself. I don't need an agent to come in. But when your agents come in and they call and they say that they could list it over asking price, and they give the comps, they give the numbers, they have everything in line, it takes that hassle off our back. We can move on to another deal and not have to worry about it. So it's always easier.
Well, the thing is, if you're by yourself and you happen to underprice something, you're going to get the first person that calls you that says you want to buy it, and you're going to sell it. Whenever we list something, we actually market it to there's over 650 agents in our area. Some agents, there's 3,000, 5,000, 30,000.
And I guarantee that $15,000 extra, or give or take a few thousand, that y'all are going to make us on the deal is better than that 5 or 6% commission.
Correct. And the deal is like if there's a certain amount of agents in our market. Let's say there's over 650 in our area. We then market that to those agents, so we get multiple buyers in. So if you're having to sell your property and someone else you have one person come with you an offer, they're gonna come with less than asking. That's a given. Unless it's like right when you list it. But more often than not, they're going to come with less than asking. And then you have to negotiate with them. You got to show your cards. If you, quote unquote, underprice it or price it right or whatever that might be, and you get multiple offers in, at that point you say, hey, everybody, send us your best offer by tomorrow at noon. And then you've got 3, 4, 5. We've had 6 people sending offers in over asking. So then you don't have to show any of your cards, and you're going to take the best offer. And that's the best practice. And most of the time it does appraise even over what that extra amount is. So that is definitely the best way to go, for sure. Because days on market, think like an investor. You're an investor probably listening to this.
You want to get into that next deal as quick as possible.
Well, yeah. Hunter, you're an investor. A lot of people may be listening to this are investors. Days on market matter so much. If you let your house sit over 30 days, you're going to be like, oh, nobody's looking at this property. Let me just offer this and see what they're going to say. Right?
Yep.
That's how you think. That's probably how the person that's selling their house for over what it's worth is thinking. The market determines value.
Yeah.
Sold properties don't determine value, and that's where people get so confused. And they want to get this square footage price. They want to get all detailed. Think like a buyer. And what is the best value on this market right now? So if my house the best value in this market right now or not? Because if other houses are better than mine sitting in the market for less money or the same amount of money, then I need to go lower.
And another thing I look at oftentimes as an investor is not only the days on market, but the price cuts. So that's where it takes into account what you're saying, overpricing versus underpricing. If they overprice and I see they're cutting the price a lot on the property, I know I'm going to come in with a much more vulnerable offer, in my opinion. I'm offering them a lot less because I know they have it overpriced, and they've had to cut the price a bunch of times.
Everyone does. Everyone knows it's overpriced.
Yep.
It doesn't make sense, I know. I mean, it's supply and demand. It's basic economics. If the supply has better value than what you have, you're not going to sell it for what that is. Supply and demand. I don't care how I could wave my magic wand. I could ride on my magic carpet. It's not going to sell for necessarily more than it's worth. But without the right marketing, it might not even sell for what it's worth. That's the thing you got to remember. If you don't have the right people on your team making sure those people are paying what it's worth, you're going to end up selling for less. But I mean, enough about me and enough about just talking about what we do. I mean, the numbers don't lie. We make sense. I don't have to talk myself up. The numbers prove themselves. Let's get to something more that people want to talk about.
Let's get into investing. What would your advice be to a newbie investor who has either never done a deal, they're contemplating getting into real estate, or they've just looked into a few things but don't exactly know what they need to do?
So it's definitely a hard question to answer, because you might have a 50-year-old listening that's got a ton of cash and wants to get into investing. You might have someone who's very young and wants to get into investing. What I always say is it depends on what your life looks like. What's your time?
And I'll start with the newbie investor. I would say just take some sort of action, whether it's read a few books on real estate, take a few courses like you're big on, pay for a few online courses, good mentorship, go work under an investor. I think that's always very important. Go meet with people that know the game already, in a sense.
Yes, because if you find the right deal, the money will come. But my biggest thing, I mean, I talked with someone today, and people want to get into investing so bad. They're willing to make deals where the numbers make sense. It does. Yet the problem is, I mean, how do you have freedom with those numbers? So let's take an example. If you work a full-time job in the plants, you're saving up some money. You may not have a lot of cash on hand, but you're starting to get there. And you've got I mean, this is a story. This is a true story, okay? So you might be able to buy a mobile home in a trailer park, $1,500. Okay? It needs a lot. It needs about, let's say, even $5,000 worth of work. Now you get $7,500.
$1,500 purchase price?
Listen to me though. Listen to me.
I will buy as many of those as you could provide.
You're saying that, but let me get to where I'm going.
All right.
This individual wanted to buy a property for $1,500. Okay? He works at the plants and he works overtime. Doesn't necessarily have a lot of cash on hand. So you're going to buy this property for $1,500. You're then going to spend another $3, $4, probably $5, maybe $6, depending on what happens, just to get it livable to rent. Okay? So yeah, you get, let's say, even $700, $750 in it, okay, a month. And then you got a $250 trailer park amount, okay?
A lot rent.
Lot rent. The numbers still make total sense. But let's take this into consideration. It's 45 minutes an hour from where you work. You work all day long. You're the one that's doing the work. You're going to have to go every day after work and deal with it. You get the wrong tenants, you're going to have to deal with it. You get some problems, you're going to have to deal with it. Time is more valuable than money. Why don't you save up,
it's because time is finite, you know? Money is infinite. There's all the money in the world. You're only given so much time.
Absolutely. So, like,
use it wisely.
Either you find the right people, you find the right deal and bring the money that follows it, or you save the money to where you're able to do it, or you find a property where it's got enough equity in it that you can get a bank to loan you most of the money, or you find private investors to loan it. I don't care what the situation is. Don't do something that's going to take up too much of your time.
Yep.
Because if you buy a cheap property with cheap renters where you're making a few $100s a month, I mean, a few $100s a month is really not a whole lot to most people. I mean, and yeah, it's something. And it's okay if you're not having to spend a lot of time. Of course, I'll do something for a few $100 a month if it's taking none of my time.
Yeah,
but if
cash
it's
flowing a couple $100 a month, and
right.
You're only
But if
hours.
it's taking a ton of your time and your energy to deal with this property for a few $100 a month or $400, even $500, I don't care if it's making me $5,000-$10,000 a month. If it's taking a lot of my time, I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Correct.
I'm going to wait until I can afford to buy something. Me personally, because of the business I was in and I understood the value of time, my first property was a commercial property. I probably break even on it. Not the best deal, but I really like the location.
I
Second,
like it. I did some work on that property.
no,
for
that
you
was
this
my
past week.
multifamily,
Oh,
not
that
the
was your
commercial. I
multifamily,
have
okay.
a little commercial
We'll get
property.
into
also.
that.
I also have a townhouse that I used to live in before I bought this house that I now rent out. And then the multifamily.
Did you house hack that? Did you live in half of it and rent the other half, or what'd you do there?
Not
Did you have
really.
roommates, or you just kind of?
I did have a roommate for some time.
Are you
and
familiar
then,
with the term house hacking?
Explain to me what you're trying to get with that.
Okay, basically, I would buy a house. Okay, good example because we have a lot of college student listeners. I buy a house. I'm a college student. Use my FHA for a low 5% down payment or 20% down.
FHA.
Yeah, 3.5.
Don't lead them on for more than they need
if
to do.
you're
Three
lucky.
3.5. Give it the right real estate agent. Don't let them lie to you like Hunter.
Okay.
I'll hook you up with the right lender. Get 3.5%.
Yeah,
down.
3.5% because Wallace is that guy. I put 3.5% down on a $100,000 property, $3,500. That's not much for your average college student that's working hard, whatever. You have $3,500 to spend. Your note would be what? $600-700 on a $100,000 property. For example, you could get those $200 or $300 in rent per tenant. Say you have a 3-bedroom, you get $300 for each of your roommates.
This market, you're probably getting 5-6.
Yeah, I was about to say I paid a lot more than that 5 years ago when I was renting with a roommate. So you get that. You're paying your note with your roommate's rent. That's basically
Then you get a
house
paid
hacking.
off property.
Yeah, then you get a paid off property or you move on.
And you know, you brought this up and I completely forgot where I was going with anything. But what I am going to say is even myself, I didn't get into any type of investing until I was able to afford to buy something that completely could be leveraged. So that depends where you are in your life. I mean, it depends where you are in your business. It depends where you are in your job. But don't get worn out with something. And, you know, other people are going to tell you different. And that they might be right. I don't know everything. I'm saying for me personally, because you're asking, or you might not be asking my opinion, but you're about to hear it. What I'm telling you is that for me personally, I had one commercial property, broke even on because I liked the location. I started renting out the place that I used to live in because I bought a new place. And until I could afford, I bought a 14 unit where I could have a property manager take care of everything. I think I've owned it over a year and a half now, and I've been to it maybe twice, and I collect the check on it.
I've been to it as many times as you have.
Exactly. You've probably been to it more than I have, and I don't even think I've been in every unit of it. That property is completely leveraged.
I really like the numbers behind that property.
Right, and I wouldn't have bought something unless it was completely leveraged. So I waited until I had the income to do that, and you'd be shocked at what I put down on something. I'm not even going to say it on here because I'm trying to sell it, and I don't want...
You're trying to sell that 14 unit?
Oh, absolutely. So if you buy something for $900 and you can sell it for 1.3, why not go buy a 50 to 100 unit? I've got a 14 unit for $900. Sell it for what it's worth.
Look,
I mean,
owner finance it to me for 0% down. How does that sound?
That would sound like such a great deal, but I think I'm gonna have to pass. I don't care how much I like you.
Come on, man. I'll fix it up. Now, you know what I would do with that? I would add equity big time because I've worked there. I know the area. I know the place. I'd paint the stairs. All the units are very nice.
Listen to him. He's a contractor. He's sitting here trying to sell me on something.
But I'm
sell
telling
me
you,
on
man,
something. Let me tell you, brother. If I could sell that, if I bought that thing for $900 a year and a half ago, I could sell it for 1.2, 1.3.
Yeah,
it's
run.
gone.
Run.
Without having to do something, I'm running.
But listen to this. What if you could paint it for $10,000 and fix everything up and sell it for 1.5?
Well, let me tell you something, Hunter. This is a great lesson that you're learning, everyone listening. He's talking about painting something to make it better. If that's what it takes to get your rent up, that's great. What I did is I bought a property that was under-rented, under-managed, and I took it over, got the rent up, or my property manager did, not me.
Is that Evelyn?
And I took it over, got the rent up, and then from there, show the numbers more. Investors buy based off of numbers.
Yeah.
So without
Cap
even
rate.
having to do a whole lot of work to it, I mean,
The cap rate on the property is
some work.
phenomenal.
Absolutely. We definitely did some work to it. Yet we're getting that income. We're getting more income than what we bought it for. I mean, what we bought it for was what it's worth. We've got the income streaming through. So we sell it now based off the income.
And I wouldn't be sitting here telling you I'd like to buy the property if I didn't think the numbers were good.
You're right, and the
I
numbers are
think the
great.
numbers are phenomenal.
The numbers I'm telling you
Correct.
is actually what the formula would say differently. The formula would say it should be worth more.
Yeah.
Yet I get the point. I get the situation. I'm not trying to make someone not be able to have any opportunity in the future to sell it. I want someone to have the opportunity. I want what I have so I can better my future.
Yep.
And not have to. I just want something. But the problem is it's hard to find something 50 to 100 unit that I want to get, and because I want it to have some type of I actually want it to have some type of deficiency so I can put money
Add
into
value.
it, get the rent up, and basically everyone wants to talk about flipping houses, buying these repos. Okay, let me buy this. Now I got 3 months to remodel it. I got to remodel it based off of what the wife thinks it's going to be, what the wife likes in it, and then there's going to be more repairs that I didn't know was going to happen. And don't get me wrong, there's all kind of good deals. Me personally, because I like leverage, I like to buy multifamily. If I screw up and it doesn't get completely remodeled like it should, at least I'm able to keep it rented out, get my income, and get every bill paid for, and continue to get money, and I'm able to flip it and potentially get much more for it.
Exactly. And what you're saying here off that topic is being an investor for 3.5 years now, 3 years. I'll tell every viewer this: flipping houses is overrated. Whether you want to believe it or not, taxes are terrible. It's a lot of time, like we've mentioned the whole podcast. It takes a lot of time out of your day. A lot of gray hairs come from flipping properties. Multifamily, like you're saying, is the absolute move. There's levels to this. It takes time to get to that point.
Look, Hunter, I'll tell you this. I've sold over 400 houses in my career. We've at least represented over 400 clients on buying and selling properties. And I have never flipped a house, and I'm more scared to flip a $60,000 house than I am to flip a $2 million apartment complex, because the stress is less. When you're flipping a house, you're worrying about what the family's going to think of it. Should I put a bathroom here? Should I deal with this? Should I do that? And there's always unexpected things, and then you don't have a renter in there, so you're just paying that mortgage. You're eating on that. You're paying those taxes, those expenses. I make a good living, and I am scared. So to see these people have hardly anything and decide to take that on scares me for them.
And with the right deal, anything's good.
Right. With the right deal, anything's good. I'm talking about me personally. I would be worried to even do that. What I would rather do is put my money and my investment into something that is multifamily. Something that is multifamily, under-rented, needs some appreciation to it, and get that property, and from there do whatever is needed to be done to get rent values up. Now, you got to be smart with the numbers and make sure that can happen, of course. But once you do that, they're not buying on what the family likes of it. They're buying it based off your rent value. So if you can take that property, get it looking like it needs to do, or even if you don't even have to do anything to the structure or the inside or anything, if you're able to take that and put a more valued type of clientele in there that's willing to pay more, well, your value goes up. The numbers make sense. The banks are loaning off of that. The people are buying off of that, because you can get an investor out of state that never even looks at the property and is willing to purchase it based off of what your taxes say and what the value of that property is. So in my opinion, it's a less of a stressful move, and it's less less of a worry.
And I don't know exactly how your, 14 unit, that place we've worked at?
Yeah, you've done some work there.
Yeah, you're
So everyone that's listening, we've definitely remodeled. You can ask Hunter. So when you're asking, I provided value there.
And from another investor, contractor, everything, it is a very good structural, sound property. But another thing in our market is vacancy. Vacancy in our area right now is so low. I don't know how you're dealing with this with your units, but when we put a sign out in the yard for a single-family rental, it's rented within that week. And it's a good thing with the plants here, the economy here. I see it being sustainable. I see things going in a positive fashion. But that's something investors have to look into. How the economics are in your area is very, very important. Look at how job growth is. Right now, when I looked at Forbes the other day, Lake Charles for 2019 was the number 3 job growth in the entire United States.
Yep.
We're talking about 50 states, and I don't know how many cities. 50,000 cities.
More than that, Hunter.
Way more than that.
For sure.
Hundreds of thousands of cities.
It's probably like 40,000.
We're number 3.
But it seems like there'd be a lot more.
We're number 3 in the entire nation. The potential here in Lake Charles right now for investors, agents, everyone, phenomenal.
And the rental market is amazing. If you're looking now, the problem with that is that it's hard to find property as a person wanting to buy a rental investment, because everyone's holding on to it because there is a limited amount, because everybody's getting so much for their rent they don't want to sell.
And that's why we're seeing so much new construction right now.
Yes, there is a lot of new
construction.
construction.
We're seeing a lot of apartment complexes being built. I had a good friend tell me the other day he had a developer come from Austin, a big
Supply and
apartment
demand.
complex guy, and he said right now Lake Charles is 15,000 units under what they should be right now as far as multifamily goes.
Totally believe it.
He
And
gave him a good economical breakdown and said that we're 15,000 apartment units less than what we should be right now
Hunter,
for the way our growth is going.
You've seen my property. It's very well kept. It's very nice, but it is an older property. It's not super luxury. There's not granite on the countertops. 1 bedroom, 1 bath. We are all day long renting it for $1,100 a month, and I mean that is a lot for Louisiana if you don't know. I mean, that's a good amount of money.
And that's due to the economic factors. We're right near the refineries.
Right near the
Where
refineries.
your location at is
Location is
so
amazing
key.
because that's what people care about. They want to be close to work. They're not having to wait in the traffic. They're not having to deal with everyone. And on top of that, this property also has a billboard set up in the front of it. I get income off of that. It's got frontage of the main highway. Basically, it's directly across from Walmart. So it's basically it could be commercial property if necessary. There's a lot in the front of it that I have people, the businesses next door, killing me and knocking my head down, trying to get me to use it as a parking lot for their business, which they want to lease from me and spend money. I won't do it because I know that I don't want to keep it forever because I'm trying to get into something bigger.
Mm-hmm. You don't want to agree to a
right. I don't
long-term
want to agree to
contract.
something that another buyer wouldn't want to. Yet it's a very good deal for someone coming in.
It is a very good property. And like I just told you, I think there's even more value out there. I don't think you're exactly capped on that $1,100
no.
rent.
Definitely not.
As crazy as it sounds, $1,100. Some of our viewers might be like, "Well, I pay $1,100 for my 2-bed, 1-bath, so and so." Well, it's not.
Brother.
It's not in this area.
Location.
You have to think that these companies are paying, these refineries are paying these employees more in per diem for housing and stuff than your rent is worth. They may be paying them $250, $300 plus a week just for them traveling here to work.
I'll put it to you this way. By the time the workers aren't needing to be in rentals anymore, if that even happens, by the time that happens in our area, the average price of rent will always be up. So like your rent is not, it shouldn't be an issue for you. And look, I don't have a glass ball. I can't predict. I'm not the smartest guy. But what I am telling you is that we're having great return on rentals. We're keeping it rented. And honestly, if I put it for more, I'd probably be getting more. And that's what I know.
And me as a single-family rental, I have 7 single-family properties right now that I own an interest in. And the guy I do this with has over 50. It is a good market to be in, but I've learned quickly that multifamily is the move. And I've flipped multiple houses, 3 in particular, by myself. And I've made huge profits on. So the money is there.
Absolutely.
But I'm telling you, the long game.
Well, the money's there because you have a system. I talk to people multiple times that just see a property that's undervalued and they want to jump into it. And I have to make them slow down, not because I don't think it's a good price they're getting at. I don't think they have enough systems in place. And I understand you don't have experience or systems unless you get into it. But if you've got some cash on hand and you have the possibility to make some failures and still succeed. But if you're like spending all your cash and planning to do this with X amount of dollars and you have no systems in place, you have nothing, that's going to really suck for you.
Tough.
Yeah, because if you have one mistake, everything's down the hole. And
you're going to be
basically,
stuck.
you could say this. Every flip house I've ever seen, there's always a little bit more expenses than you calculated.
You always
And people make a lot of money off of it, but I could guarantee the ones that are continually doing it have a great system, great partners in process, and they get it done quickly. Because you have to get it done quickly, because if it sits on your books too long, you're not going to make a good enough profit.
Yeah, and the TVM is so important, the time value of your money. If it takes me a year to flip this house and I'm only going to make $30,000 on it, so whatever that ends up being per month, it seems like I'm making a lot, $30,000 profit, but it took a whole year out of my life.
Where you could have been going to get better deals.
Yeah, I could spend using better deals, building more houses, new construction, or developing bigger contracting projects. So you always have to take that into account. The time is so much more important than the money, like the whole show has been based off of. It really is. You have to see.
Time and freedom, brother.
Time and freedom over money.
I won't say that dude, I still care about money. I can't lie. I mean, if I was broke tomorrow, it would suck. I like giving back to people. I like having
and you're a good guy. You're a sponsor a Big Brothers Big Sisters organization.
Yeah.
I want to look into that. I've heard good things about you before I had
That's
even
how I
met
met
you.
Donald Trump.
Yep, that's how I met Donald Trump. Let's
Yeah,
talk
I
about
was
that
with
for
my
a
little
second.
brother, and
Met freaking Donald J. Trump. I'd hate to lose a few viewers here, but I don't care if I lose a few viewers here, actually. The absolute most business savvy and highest IQ, most intelligent president we have had since Reagan, at least. At least. Donald Trump is that guy.
Well, look, I'm not getting into politics. This is whatever you want to take it as. What I'm going to tell you is I brought my little brother with Big Brothers Big Sisters. We went to see the president come into Lake Charles. We had front row up there, and he walked by, and I said, "Hey, President Trump," with he was distracted, and I said, so then I don't know what clicked in my brain, but I knew he does a lot of real estate, if you don't know. I
Yeah.
said, "President Trump, who do you know looking to buy a home, sell a house, or invest in real estate?" He grabbed his hand so far from my hand and kind of freaked out and just looked at me like I was ridiculous, but it made the absolute best video. Follow me on Instagram, Wallace W. Myers, or on Facebook at Wallace Myers Group, and you can see it. Also, like it, please. Yes, this is a promotion. Do it.
Yeah, guilty plug. I met Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So please go like the video of me shaking
and you
Donald
see, neither
Trump's
of us
hand.
probably remember what we were talking about before. Look how we just got off, but
It's
that
so
was something
important.
funny to touch on.
And we're wrapping up here, so no other reason not to talk about it. We had to add it in. It was part of the bio, but I'm jealous. I'm very jealous.
Yeah, it was a cool experience, I can tell you that. It made a very funny video for sure. So, and more than that, I was able to see my little brother meet the president. That's an experience to see his face, see that. That was better than any video I have, honestly. And I just recall what we're talking about. We're talking about time over money. And I want to get back to that real quick because I didn't get to finish on that. When I first started, I definitely valued time. That's why I got in this business. But I probably valued money more than I do. Now I have the freedom and the money. And let me tell you what. You start to realize money is not important when you can kind of do the things you want to do. Of course, I would like to do more, but the reason I want more money is to do more investments, not necessarily because I want to change the way I live. I like my lifestyle. I like to travel, and I kind of have that covered. So there's a point where it just doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't necessarily matter what people think, and a lot of times the people that are showing off on everything and posting what they have all over Instagram and Facebook is because that they have some type of insecurity and they feel like they have to feel that. Nothing wrong with doing it. Just that's just my piece on it. You start to realize as you get more that's not important. Freedom is much more important, and that is definitely something that I have realized. Like my complete perspective has changed. Like any money that I want more now is just to do more investing and more helping people. I absolutely love to be able to provide for kids in need and people that can't necessarily help themselves. If you can help yourself, I don't necessarily have as much of a heart, but if you can, if I hate to say it like that, but whenever you're someone who can't help themselves and you're having some struggles in your life, there's nothing more that I'd like to do. And there's nothing wrong with money. A lot of the world wants to tell you that having a lot of money is bad and they talk down. It's the person, like you said earlier. And if you're willing to help more people and do more things for your community, I think that's what God gave it to you for.
It's
to
not
help
the
more
amount of
people.
money you have. It's what you do with the money that you have.
Yeah, it could be a little or it could be a lot. It's what you do with it. And you can't have a poor person help another poor person. Maybe with time, but time is very valuable. So if you're able to help them, if you're able to have money and help way more people and do more things, what more do you want from that? Maybe that's my perspective. I could be wrong, but just really, really remember, like, you might be in a situation where you think money's everything and you might think it's a lot, and that's okay. But just listen to me when I tell you this. Don't blast it everywhere. Don't show it off. Don't do those things. People are gonna disrespect you for that, and really take the money you have and give back. And you don't have to do it in public. That's what a lot of people don't get. Just do it because you care. Or maybe you don't honestly care, and then maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you don't need to give back. But if you are someone who cares about people and you care about the community, just do it to do it. And don't feel guilty from it. The world wants to make you feel guilty a lot of times for making money. You worked hard for that. And when you got what you want and you're doing what you do, give it back. Invest it, because that gives you more money so you can help more people. But give it back. Give it to the people that helps make you where you go. Give it to the people in need. And give it to the community that helped make you where you are. And just never forget that. Don't feel guilty about it. I had trouble with that at some point, and I'm definitely far from where I want to be. And I don't. It probably looks like I have more than I have, and I'm very comfortable. Yet, it's not it's not the important thing to me, and that's probably where I am. Because if I'd have been money hungry, I would have not made the connections I made, and I would have not made some of the decisions I made to treat people right and treat people right, do good for your community, and don't ever forget that, or you're completely missing this entire podcast, because that's basically what it's around, is helping people.
Time over money and happiness over money.
Absolutely. That's why I'm sitting here with you right now, because I want to help you people. I want to help whoever's listening do what they want to do. Contact me. I'm not afraid to help you.
Contact Wallace. It was a pleasure to have you on. Wallace Myers at the Wallace Myers Group. Wanted to hear today, guys. Quick shout out to the Wallace Myers Group. Give them a plug for buying, investing real estate. Any of your needs, you could reach them.
Absolutely. You can reach us at Wallace Myers Group on Facebook, the Wallace Myers Group, Instagram. Call my office, 337-368-7553. Rewind it if you need to hear that number again. Please call us. We are literally taking a portion of our profits to help kids in need for December. We want to make a big difference in this community. We want to do something that no other real estate company has ever done. We've been honored and blessed with an overpour of support from our community. We want to give back. We've got what we want. We don't necessarily have the numbers we want, because I'm never satisfied as far as that goes.
Nope.
But we've gotten a lot, and we're content. We want to give back. So reach out to us. We're gonna do a lot for you. We're not here just to make the quick buck. We're here for you, and we're also here to give back. And listen, other people out there, if you're struggling with anything financially, if you have kids that are in need, we want to help you. Just call us. We're very happy to help. I mean, we can't help with everything. We've got a budget. But if you actually are in need of something, we want to help you out there. So please contact us.
And we'll definitely drop a link in the show notes to everything you just said, to your groups,
Great.
to your page. And I really appreciate you for being on today. It was a great show. I think it'll definitely be our best one yet. But it's just numbers. I want this to reach people. I want this to affect people. And I really think that's what a lot of this show is about. And I think it'll serve its purpose. So I thank you for being on, my good friend, everyone, Wallace Myers. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Hunter. Appreciate it.